What is up guys, KevinJSI here back with a brand new video, and today I got something special for you all. I know that I haven't posted in the past 3 weeks because I've been a little bit busy, but I promise that I'll get back to posting every 2 weeks consistently after this. So anyways, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. Let's begin. So thanks to being stuck in quarantine all year, I've been able to play more games than ever, and I just want to take some time to talk about 5 of my favorites. So right off the bat, we have the game that took up my entire spring break with Octopath Traveler. Up until this point, most of my time playing video games in the past year was taken up by Animal Crossing, but I was growing very bored of it very quickly. So thankfully, Octopath came into my life and introduced me to its beautiful story and charming characters. Compared to Animal Crossing, it was obviously way more exciting, which was honestly something I needed at the time. While Animal Crossing was great at the start of quarantine, it was really just a distraction, while Octopath was a whole adventure and something exciting in a time of fear. I should also note that Octopath is largely responsible for my recent addiction to turn-based RPGs, which is why it will not be the first one from the genre on my list. While I loved Octopath, one major flaw for me was that it could get repetitive and boring at times, so when the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake rolled around, I was absolutely thrilled. To be completely honest with all you guys, you should know that my initial interest in Final Fantasy came from Smash Bros, but regardless, I'd been following the timeline for the release of the game for ages and dying for it to actually come out, and luckily it only took 50 years for it to release, but it was worth the wait. So Final Fantasy VII Remake has had my favorite cast of characters out of any game that I have ever played, and on top of this it had amazing combat that I never grew bored of and strategic elements outside of battle that always kept me thinking. After beating the game, I actually went back to play the original Final Fantasy VII, only to get my heart broken by that moment. But it made me appreciate the remake that much more, so now I just have to wait until I'm 60 to play part 2. A few months after Final Fantasy VII Remake, the release of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was on the horizon. If you've been keeping up with my channel, you know that my first video as KevinJSI was actually about this game, and if you watched it, you know how much I loved it. The funny thing is, last year I actually started to play Xenoblade on the Wii, and literally a week later the Definitive Edition was announced for the Switch, so I decided to wait, and I'm happy that I did. The Wii graphics were really bugging me at the time when I started the original, so seeing the updated models on the Switch solved my only real problem with the game. Xenoblade tells a really inspirational story with, once again, a great cast of characters. During a time of great uncertainty, hearing the message that we are in control of our own fate from the game was really inspirational and reassuring. After finishing Xenoblade, I played multiple games over the summer, but the best one was definitely Ori and the Blind Forest. Prior to playing Ori, I was never really a huge fan of the platformer genre of video games, largely because of the stories. They felt very basic and boring, but Ori blew this stereotype out of the water and told a story of family and kindness that made me tear up at some points. The gameplay was absolutely amazing as well and felt fresh and new while still having the simple charm that most platformers have, and not to mention the visuals and music was beautiful as well. Thanks to Ori, my view of platformers has changed drastically, and I am looking forward to playing Will-O-the-Wisps when I get the chance. To finish up my list, I have a game that took me months to complete. I started it at the end of summer and finished it at the beginning of November, and I loved every minute of it. This game was Persona 3 Portable. Early in quarantine, I actually played Persona 5 and really enjoyed it, which made me want to play another game in the series. And while Persona 5 was superior in the gameplay aspect, the story, music, characters, and theming in Persona 3 was much better, which is why it's on my list. There are so many moments in the game that gave me chills and others that just left me in complete shock. And it was an absolute roller coaster of events that led to one of the most perfect but saddening endings in any video game that I've ever played. The major theme of the game was death, but it was even more so about making the most of your life and understanding that everyone has a purpose, which is really meaningful considering the trying times we are currently in. And now we approach the present. Technically, we are still in quarantine, so if you guys would like a part 2 to this video, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please stay tuned for more content in the future. KevinJSI out. Peace.